Hello, in this lecture we will study about the spherical refracting surfaces and derive the relationship between the image distance, object distance, refractive indices of the rarer medium, denser medium and the radius of curvature of the refracting surface. Now, the spherical refracting surface is a part of a sphere of refracting material. We deal with the two types of the refracting surfaces. A surface which is convex towards rarer medium is called convex refracting surface, like this one. As it is convex, so it is a convex refracting surface, and a surface which is concave towards the rarer medium is called concave refracting surface. This medium is a rarer, this one is denser. Now, basic terminology used in the derivation. Number one, this green point, this P is representing the pole of the surface. It is the center of the spherical refracting surface. C is a center of curvature of the spherical refracting surface, and it is the center of the sphere of which the refracting surface forms a part. R is the radius of curvature of the spherical surface of which the refracting surface is a part. The straight line which joining the P and C is a principal axis, and the diameter is called aperture. The line joining this, the length of this line is the aperture of the spherical refracting surface. Now the study of the refraction at the spherical surfaces will be based on the following assumptions. That is, object is a point object lying on the principal axis. The incident and the refracted rays make the small angle with the principal axis. Aperture is small. The sign conventions used in the spherical surfaces are same as used in lenses. That is, all the distances are measured from the pole of the spherical surface. Distances measured in the direction of the incident light are taken as positive. The distances measured in the direction opposite to the direction of incident light are taken as negative. Now let us derive the relationship between the image distance, object distance and the radius of curvature of the refracting surfaces. Now we consider the first case where the object is in a rarer medium. So the ray of light is going from rarer to denser medium and the image is a real image. Surface is a convex surface. So this medium is a rarer medium and this one is a denser medium. Mu1 is a refractive index of the rarer medium and the mu2 is a refractive index of the denser medium. P is the pole of the refracting surface and C is the center of curvature. The line joining the pole and the center of curvature is called principal axis. O is the position of the object and it is the path of the ray passing from O incident on the refracting surface and reach to the point, and this point is a point where the image is formed. When we join this point with a C, it is the normal. C is the center and it is a curved surface. So to draw the normal, join this point with the center of curvature, or we can say and C is a normal. As you know, the angle between the incident ray and the normal is called angle of incidence, and EM is a normal perpendicular drawn on the surface OI. R is the angle of refraction between the incident refracted ray and the normal. Alpha is the angle between the incident ray and the principal axis. Beta is the angle between the refracted ray and the principal axis, and gamma is the angle between the normal and the principal axis. R is the radius of curvature. U is the object distance between the pole of the refracting surface and the object. V is the image distance between the pole of the refracting surface and the image. Now, in this triangle OAC, in the triangle OAC, I is an exterior angle. As I is an exterior angle, so it is equal to alpha plus gamma. Similarly, in this triangle, gamma is an exterior angle. So gamma equals to R plus beta. Now see, gamma is an exterior angle, so it is equal to R plus beta, and beta is equal to, R is equal to gamma minus beta. As alpha, beta and gamma are the small angles, so tan alpha is approximately equal to alpha, or we can say alpha is equal to MA upon MO. Similarly, beta is equal to MA upon MI, and gamma is equal to MA upon MC, MA upon MC. As you know, according to the Snell's law, sin I upon sin R equals to mu2 upon mu1. When the angles are small, then we can write I upon R equals to mu2 upon mu1, which can be written as mu1I equals to mu2 R. Now put the value of I and R. I is equal to, now as you know, I is equal to alpha plus gamma. So we put here alpha plus gamma, and R is equal to gamma minus beta. As gamma is equal to, as alpha is equal to MA upon MO, gamma is equal to MA upon MC, and mu2 MA upon MO minus beta MA upon MI. We put the value of alpha, beta and gamma. This is equal to mu1 MA MO is equal to PO plus PM plus MA upon PMC is equal to PC minus PM, and similarly these terms. As PM is negligible with respect to PO, PC and PI, so this can be written as mu1 into M upon PO, mu1 upon PO, mu2 upon PI, mu2 minus mu1 upon PC. Or you can say mu1 upon PO plus mu1 upon PC equals to mu2 upon PO minus mu2 upon PI. Now use the sign convention. The distances on the left hand side of the spherical surface are taken negative, and on this side, on the right hand side, is taken positive. PO is an object distance, so PO is equal to minus U. PI is equal to V, and PC equals to right hand side, so it is R. Now when we rearrange, we get this equation. Now put the value of U, V and R. It becomes mu1 upon minus U plus mu2 upon V equals to mu2 minus mu1 upon r. Whatever be the surface, whatever be the case, you always get the same result.